This is Bhagya Chandrasekhar, serving currently as the President, Region 1, USA for Global Council. Welcome here to this meeting. We have a wonderful speaker. Some of you may already know him. Some of you probably are listening to him for the first time. Regardless, I assure you it will be a wonderful session with Dhurjati ji here. Like I said, just before we go, if any of you have any questions, please send them through our chat here specifically to Dr. Krishna Rao, who is one of our co-hosts here. He will be funneling all the questions to Dhurjati ji at the end of this session. So thank you all for that. And then introducing Dhurjati ji, I don't think he needs a lot of introduction. Like I said, quite a few of us know him. Know him not only as Baba's student, but we also know him as a wonderful Veena player. We have heard him play quite on several occasions. So we will get to hear him today as well. I think he has very kindly agreed to do some bhajan sessions for us on Veena as well. So in my understanding, he actually learned, his first teacher for Veena has been his father himself. He learned from his father, and then when he came to Prashanthi Nilayam to study in Baba's school, he was given several opportunities to play Veena, divine bhajans, obviously, in front of Baba himself, which is his presence. And during those days is when I think Baba guided him through the bhajan playing for the bhajans as well. So he's very blessed having the divine guru himself to teach him and guide him in this process. And like I said, we are very lucky actually to hear him do that today for us playing bhajans. Currently, he works at a paper manufacturing company in Ohio, managing the R&D group. He also served in several roles at the Columbus Sai Center, and currently he is serving as a National Devotional Coordinator for our region, for our country, USA. And he lives in Columbus, Ohio with his wife and children. So very, very pleased to have him here. Very, very pleased. And I welcome all the devotees here, and we are very, very happy to have Rochester Center now, the Sri Sathya Sai Global Council Center at Rochester. So we welcome all the devotees here, and then we welcome Dhurjati brother as well here to speak to us. Thank you.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Thank you for such a loving invitation and also the introduction. And I think when I spoke to Sister Bhagya a few days ago, I said, really, I don't really have any, credentials to talk about in Swami's families. The only thing that we know is we have had the great fortune of being around Swami for a few years in our earlier days. So thank you, and thanks to our national SSSGC national committee members, Brother Jiva, I think Brother Giridhar is online too, and I know Balu is in India. So to all of those wonderful devotees who've been serving Swami in their roles, thanks to all for suggesting me to take part in this wonderful occasion of the Rochester SSSGC Center inauguration. Also, thanks to Dr. Krishna Rao and Sandhya ji for wonderful to meet them. I know I've met many of Rochester devotees in the past also. So a loving Sai Ram to all of you. And today is Guru Poornima, so I wanted to talk about some of the aspects that I have had the blessings to see in my life, mostly to actually show how Bhagawan actually works with each of us on one-on-one. But before I start, I think what I'm going to do is to play one old bhajan that kind of, I'll narrate the meaning, but actually that kind of captures the role of Guru or Sathya Sai in our lives. So I'll start that with one bhajan, then I'll get into the talk. Are you able to hear me okay?
Yes, Saira.
Okay, Sarah. So the first bhajan that I played is actually an old bhajan we used to sing in 70s in a small town called Siddipet in Andhra Pradesh, in Swami's Bhajans. The words for that bhajan is Sathya Sai Bhaskaram Namaskaromi Sadgurum Ajnana Timira Nashanam Namami Sathya Sayanam. So it basically, the translation of this, Swami is the illuminant sun to whom we offer our pranams, as he is the one who can actually dispel the darkness of ignorance. So that is so relevant when we talk about Guru Poornima. And there are so many discourses. Swami talked about the significance of Guru Poornima. And I know there are a lot of elders who have spoken eloquently on the significance of Guru Poornima too. So I think just to very briefly, summarize what Swami, I shouldn't say summarize, but take one or two sentences from what Swami talked about Guru Poornima. He says the word gu is, darkness, and ru is the remover. So his guru is the one who removes darkness. And I think last time when I spoke in Rochester Center a few years ago, I talked about Manasa Bhajare Guru Charanam, which was a bhajan that Swami first gave all of us when he took this incarnation, when he announced that he is the avatar. That's the first bhajan Swami sang. And in that bhajan, I think we talked about last time, but I'll briefly summarize for those of you who may not have joined last time. It's a beautiful bhajan. One step back. So on the Guru Poornima, when Swami talks about the darkness, he essentially talks about mind. He talks about mind, how you reform mind. So to reform mind, you need a guru who can teach you how to go beyond the mind and then access the divine nature that we are all. This is what Swami teaches us, and this is up to us to experience, obviously. But in that context, Manasa Bhajare Guru Charanam, Swami starts with that word Manasa, which is mind. And he says, a mind, Bhajare Guru Charanam means mind, worship the feet of the Guru. Dustara Bhavasagar Taranam it is the ocean of this life is pretty hard to navigate. So, and then he says, Guru Maharaj, Guru Jai Jai, that is, you worship the Guru. And then Sai Nada Sadguru Jai Jai, which is Swami, he is declaring that, you don't even need to look for who is the Guru. I am the Guru that have come to help you, to save you. And then Swami starts talking about, the Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, then Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva. Then he says, Omkaram Bhava, Omkaram Bhava. So the bhajan itself is such a profound, deeply profound meaning in that bhajan. And actually it's amazing because in that one bhajan, Swami actually reveals the mission of his incarnation actually. And as I said, the last word is the last sentence of the bhajan is the Omkaram Bhava. So he actually, wants us to become one with Omkara. Now, one thing that we see is that why is that Guru is so, why does Swami say that we need to worship Guru and we need to worship his feet? It is actually very interesting, if you think about some of these, concepts, it's actually mind-boggling because it all makes such a beautiful sense. And I think you actually have goosebumps when you understand some of this. At least that's what my experience was. And, and the first thing is, why do we worship somebody's feet? That's how, we say touch somebody's feet, or why do you worship somebody's feet? What does it mean, worshipping somebody's feet? And I think, feet is what they stand on. Anybody stands on. So when you worship somebody's feet, you're really worshipping and you're really adopting what they stand for, what they have come to stand for. And so that is, you're actually walking on the path that they have given. And then the second thing is, Guru Maharaj, Guru Jai Jai, in that word, why do I need to really, praise Guru? Why does Guru needs anybody to praise him? So when you think about that, there are so many spiritual masters who have talked about this. In fact, our own traditions show, Dakshinamurti, he is in silence. And in fact, on the higher secondary school, we have in Puttaparthi Higher Secondary School, you have Dakshinamurti's sculpture on the front walls of the school, and then you have the sages sitting next to him, and he's in silence, and they are all in silence. Yet the master teaches his knowledge to the students, and you start wondering, so how does that work? How does actually this communication happen? And in fact, when you really worship a Guru, you don't exist. You become one with Guru. When you become one with Guru, his knowledge is yours and you have no special existence of your own. I'll narrate a small incident that one of my senior brothers spoke to us in our center few years ago. He was a student at Vrindavan Swami's College, and this was in late 70s. So Swami, asked this boy. He said, he called him by name, and he said, "So do you love Swami?" And then he said, "Swami Bahut," means a lot, Swami. I love you a lot. That's what he said. Then Swami said, "Jhoot, jhoot," means it's a lie. That's what Swami says. And then he explains, if you really love somebody really that deep, you don't even know that. You don't even exist, because all that exists is only the other person. Your existence doesn't matter, actually. You are not even aware of your own existence. So that is the intense love that, becomes devotion. In fact, that's what, if you read the Narada Bhakti Sutras, so that's what they actually, Narada talks about bhakti as this unbroken stream of intense love for Paramatma. So your love for God is not perturbed by the events that happen in your life. And that means it is continuous. And the second part, it is intense. And when, there are a lot of examples that Swami talks about, and we all know too, but, we can go down this path to recognize, what Swami is teaching. But I want to talk about my own experience a little bit today, at least for some portion. Last time I did talk about, how my parents came to Swami, and this was in early 70s. And in our home, we have had wonderful, wonderful, blessings by Bhagawan's. Actually, Bhagawan's grace was so intense and immense, both, that we have had so many, experiences at home where, Swami had, we had vibhuti, we had kumkum, we had, Swami ate food in the devotees' homes where we used to live. And it sounds magical, but it was certain that it happened because we all experienced and we're all the witnesses of that. I was young, so I remember few things, not too many. I was 3 or 4 year old at the time. So this connection with Swami was not on a physical plane. Although devotees have gone to see Puttaparthi, it was all, in our own homes that we experienced. So is Bhagavan everywhere? Oh, absolutely. Swami actually talks about that, and we all have experiences. We continue to have experiences. If only we look, we'll find experience every day in everything that happens in our life. You see how his hand holds us and makes us walk. And that is actually tailor-made for each of us, because Swami said, once you say, I am your devotee, there is no going back. Even if you come back and say, Swami, I changed my mind, he says, I am not changing my mind. You're going to be mine. And it is an interesting, interesting relation that God and a devotee has. And Bhagavan, Bhagavan actually beautifully wrote this poem to students, which are all compiled in this Premadhara series. These are the books that I think Books and Publications Trust has published. Wonderful, wonderful poems. And it's just so intense, and I should say concentrated. So I'm a chemist, so I'm going to use the word concentrated. So it is so beautiful to hear, because each of those lines takes lots of time for us to understand. So one poem I remember from that I wanted to read out a little bit is the bird with you, the wings with me, the foot with you, the way with me, the eye with you, the form with me, the thing with you, the dream with me. So are we free, so are we bound. So we begin and so we end. You in me and I in you. You see, he cannot let go of us just the way we cannot let go of him. We are part. This is the beauty of, the relationship that God and a devotee has. So now going back to my story, so when we were in the Siddipet, and when we were in a small little town and experienced Bhagawan through photographs, I never really thought of contemplating of going to Puttaparthi. Puttaparthi was not, because we say, well, we experienced Swami through photographs, and in fact, Swami wrote letters through photographs. Swami is given enormous, enormous proof that he is everywhere. And so we never really, we used to go to Puttaparthi to visit, but I never really wanted to or craved to study in Swami's college. So it so happened that one of my father's friend, whose son was of my age, and we both were together, and so he wanted to send his son to Puttaparthi. He thought, these two, kids can go together, so they'll have some company. And so at the time, actually, we were in a different towns too. We moved away from that little town. So he sends a application to our home. So my father says, well, you fill up and then you send it. And, I had different ideas with my own life. I wanted to be a cultural secretary in a junior college. I was going down the path that, most youngsters in the town were doing at the time. Yet, his kindness is amazing, So he sends an application through somebody, not deliberately that we were thinking of. And so we both fill up applications, and he sends and I send, and then we go through the interviews. And lo and behold, I get selected and he doesn't get selected. So it ends up that application actually, got me in. And then, so I did end up in Swami's, Swami's schools. Higher secondary school in 82, and at the time, just the mere sight of Bhagawan used to give me goosebumps. Just the darshan was so powerful that, because I will actually narrate a little bit on this, because when you are tuned to Swami, you actually resonate with his energy. When we are not tuned to Swami, it really doesn't affect you as much as one would think. So, for example, Puttaparthi. Somebody might say, well, what is there to do in Puttaparthi? Why do I need to go to Puttaparthi? I can see Swami here. I have a photograph here. If you go as a tourist to sightseeing in Puttaparthi, see some buildings, hospital, and come back, that statement is probably true, that, it probably doesn't matter. But for a spiritual sadhaka, it makes immense difference. In fact, our own Shastras talk about this. They say if you do sadhana in your own home, if you're doing spiritual practice in your own home, versus going to a temple, the effect of that sadhana is multiplied by many more times. They actually use a number 6 there, but it is multiplied multiple times just by doing the same sadhana in a different environment, because the energy of the place, these are all Shakti Kshetras. People go to visit and pay respects and pray at these holy sites, not because they're superstitious, because they derive the benefits of doing what they're doing. That's why people go to Tirupati again and again and again. And that's why people go to Kashi, or, you can talk about, any holy place, that they would do it because they actually derive the benefit of it. So we don't have a right to strike off their experience. So their experience is true. And if you are one of those, I will tell you, in my own case, Puttaparthi is that place where even now, when you go, just like Shirdi Baba says, Shirdi Baba, when he left his body, he says, from that samadhi, my bones will speak to devotees and take care of devotees. That's what Swami Shirdi Baba says when he leaves his body. And when Puttaparthi, when Swami left his body there, it is enormously powerful kshetra. So now going back to the multiplication factors. So from temple, if you go to a kshetra like Tirupati or, in our case, Puttaparthi, it is multiplied further by doing the same sadhana in that place. When the Sakshat avatar is there, it is multiplied even more times. So the same sadhana that you can do your return on investment is a lot more when you actually go to Shakti Kshetra. In fact, to this extent, if you see Shankaracharya, when he came in, is the incarnation of Shiva, Lord Shiva. Even though at the time there were no trains, no buses, they actually went to every Punyakshetra, every holy place in India, and especially Jyotirlingas. They would re-energize those places so the devotees can continue to get the benefit of that. In the early stages of Swami's avatar, you know what Swami did? That's exactly what Swami did. He went from Kanyakumari up into the Himalayas. Swami went to all the Shakti Kshetras. In fact, in many places, he actually created, a yantra that was actually, put in, the places where that Shakti Kshetra continues to, the powerhouse for the Shakti Kshetra, its spiritual powerhouse, continues to benefit the spiritual aspirants in their spiritual sadhana. That is what the incarnation does. Now, Puttaparthi itself, we know, if you see the Vatavriksha, Swami created a big, a copper plate, which is a yantra that was actually put under the Vatavriksha for the benefit of people who would meditate on, who would continue to use meditation as their sadhana. So, again, it's not that anybody needs to be convinced, but these are all wonderful, things to, think about. And now I'll go back to my story again, because that's how Swami said, well, this guy needs to be in Puttaparthi now. Not that we didn't know about Swami, not that we didn't experience Swami, but he still wanted us to be at his lotus feet. And that joy of being in Swami's physical presence is incomprehensible. You could not even narrate. As I said, the first darshan I was shaking with joy. And he didn't need to do anything. He didn't even look at me on that day. Swami never, just his presence, just his power, draws you in. And for many years, even after that, whenever we used to see Swami on Sundays, especially mornings, it was like a heaven, because just the beauty of nature, and Puttaparthi is quite unpolluted, so you actually hear the birds, you see the skies, you see the sunrise, sunset. And at the time, they were not even this Kulvanthal or anything else, so you'd just see trees and sun. It's just beautiful, actually. So that was my early, introduction to, Swami's darshan. They say darshanam papanashanam. So darshanam papanashanam is because when you connect, you actually start seeing Swami inside. And I'll keep weaving the stories, but I think I want to make sure that I communicate the messages that are part of this. So one time, I was in the veranda during the student days, and Bhagawan, just before Bhajans started, he walked and he was standing in front of me. And then now the Omkar started. So my question was, should I close my eyes or should I see Swami? So I was looking at Swami, and then Swami said, hey, Dunapota, close your eyes. So what Swami teaches us, again, even when you go to temples, if you see, when we go to temples, we fold our hands and we close our eyes, because you are actually seeing the Lord outside, but then you are actually imagining initially and then realizing that the same Lord exists inside. So Bhagavan teaches the same thing. In fact, he says, think that you are God. That's what Swami says. Not that he wants us to act what we are not, but that is a process of, getting to realize ourselves. And the same here, So when Swami is himself standing in front of you, he insists that we actually see Swami internally. So to that, the Parthi experience is immense. So again, the two things I should say. So, Swami is master of everything, obviously. But one thing that we all get to enjoy with Swami is how he puns the words, because I think he says, Puttaparthi in English, if you say, put apart thy, that's what Swami said, I think. So if you put apart yourself, then actually you realize, God. Very beautifully Swami would, pun those words. And in Telugu also there is actually a wonderful meaning for puttaparthi. The word puttaparthi, puttu means birth. Parthi, in one of the meanings of parthi, is to eliminate, remove. So puttaparthi is a place where you will remove the future birth cycle. You will escape from the cycle of birth and death. In fact, I played the Bhajagovindam, Guru Charanamrita verse in the beginning, because that was one of the things Swami talked often about Bhajagovindam. In fact, we are Swami made us play, put together a play on Shankaracharya. I was part of the background music there, and that word Bhajagovindam, again, I don't want to go into the details of that Bhajagovindam portion, but every one of these is so profound, meaning for each of us. And more importantly, it is of immense help in our spiritual sadhana. So now, once I came to Puttaparthi, so Swami, my father said, well, I learned Veena from my father. Not good discipline, because it was my father. I didn't really have a great discipline to, learn properly. So I've learned a little bit. Then I was not too much involved into Carnatic music. So I was more into light music, and I said, okay, because this is our family tradition, I have to learn Veena. So I learned Veena. So when I went to Puttaparthi, my father said, well, there used to be a lady called Mrs. Vijaya, who used to play Veena during Swami's darshan in 70s. And she would play, Bhajans. I think she played Carnatic classical too, Wonderful, wonderful Veena player. So my father said, well, ask Swami for an opportunity. So I said, well, we ask. So I've asked Swami one time, I write a letter and then I stand up. And then Swami, came to me and he said, so how Bhagawan interacts with you is just a joy, And I was 14-year-old at the time. And Swami stands in front of me. He said, so you play Veena? I said, so yes, Swami, I like to play, during your darshan. Then Swami says, so where would you like to play? I said, Swami, wherever you want me to play, wherever you ask me to play, I'll sit and play. Then he said, well, you can sit on the coconut tree and play like a monkey. That's what Swami said. And then everybody laughed and I laughed. And, so how Swami breaks ice, with you. He is not a hierarchical God. I mean, think about it. Swami, for a little human, we are not even a dust speck in the creation, of his creation. Yet, when he comes to us, he is actually on a friendly terms. He's on an equal basis, actually, He jokes with you. He talks with you. He puts up with us, actually. We puts up with, at least in my case, puts up with the ignorance, and arrogance is part of ignorance, arrogance too, obviously. So it's amazing how Swami, ropes you to be associated with him, to long for him. And so that's how it started. My Veena playing is at best meager at this stage, and it was worse at the time. So I'm not a professional Veena player by any chance, by any means. And in Swami's presence, those of us who know, who all used to show up, whether it is Pandit Ravi Shankar, who craved for an opportunity to play in front of Swami, onwards, every major celebrity that you can think of, would crave for an opportunity to sing in front of Swami. So our levels, as a 14-year-old kid who was indisciplined and who didn't learn properly, my Veena playing was actually horrendous, if that's a kind word. And yet Bhagawan said, okay, then there was a lot more tactical aspects that went in, but Swami gave me a chance to play during darshan, and I used to sit inside the mandir, where we do, right now we do bhajans in Kulwant Hall, but in the past bhajans used to be in the mandir, where Swami's throne was there, and right next to Swami's throne was this a stained glass where just before Swami starts to come down for darshan, the lights would turn on. See, Swami was so disciplined in those, because he's teaching by role model, So he would never waste 1 minute of light. If he's not there, he would turn the light off. And so just before he comes down, the light turns on. Then you see a silhouette of Swami's hair, and Swami just climbed down the stairs. Then he would stand in front of the door, and then he would open the door to the interview room. That's where Swami used to come out for darshan. And I had this, I don't even know how, I don't think there is anything you could do to deserve this. It is his Leela, and it is no reason for that. Swami talks about the no reason for love, no season for love. There is no reason for why he gives what he gives. And so he opens the door and he stands like that for a minute. And that beauty of this wonderful darshan, you can't get enough of it. You can drench yourself in the joy of just being there, and the time stops and your mind stops. Nothing happens in that. Just a beauty. I mean, just a heaven. And then I would play Veena, while Swami was, going for darshan. And once in a while, Swami would come inside, and then he would sit. And then he would start, he asked me, so what bhajan can you play? Then I had very small number of bhajans, like 5-6 bhajans that I could play. So I would play that, and then Swami would correct. Swami would correct every little detail. Such a detail, perspective Swami provides you. It's amazing. Every little thing, whether the way you play the talam strings, which are the support strings on the Veena, to the gamakas, the nature of these, they're called sancharis, which is in each raga there are a particular set of notes that determine the characteristics of that raga that you're supposed to play when you play that raga. So Swami would sing those and he would ask me to play. Just the enormous kindness and love that Swami has for every one of us. Every one of us has a experience that we can hold on to if only we look. In our cases, where we had the wonderful opportunity to be in his presence, it was easy enough because it was physical, it was deliberate, and you could see it. But when we come here, I still see that. I still see Bhagawan taking care of us all the time. And I'll tell you, it's the same for each of us. Now, where does this guru who is talking spirituality fit into this Veena playing? See, this is another aspect that took a long time to understand. But this is a joy. This is the game of life, So every moment is sweet. Every step is sweet. And everything is, incremental. You learn and then you keep coming back and then you keep adding more to the learnings. So there are so many experiences that we can think of. First thing I'll talk about is, so this is how my attachment to Swami grew, because I used to look for Swami to come inside. Now all that stuff around how Swami was present, omnipresent in our homes through photographs was one aspect. But when you see Swami in physical form, it's felt different. Because now it felt that he's limited to the 5-foot form. And in Puttaparthi especially, because you see, and then you start, your mind is, it's trained to look at patterns and make, assumptions, and then come up with theories, and then right or wrong, you go with them. And many times we actually create enormous misunderstandings because our mind has assumed wrong things. That's why they say don't judge anybody, don't judge anything. That is the right thing. So, but these are all practices. We keep learning. So from there, when Bhagavan is to come and listen to me play and then correct me, then ask me, how did you practice this bhajan? And then whenever I went home, Swami would say, when you go home, I want you to learn, Begada, Kamboji, Thodi, like all the classical ragas that in Carnatic music, Swami would actually name them and say, go and learn these, kirtanas in that ragas. And then when we come back, Swami would ask, did you learn? So, and then play. So this is the tactical aspects of this. But at a deeper level, Swami was actually, working on me on multiple fronts. One is that, first thing, there's nothing called a spirituality that is separate from your living. Everything that you do in your life is part of spirituality. Everything that you are aspiring, the perfection that you aspire in your own profession is spirituality. The help that you do in your profession to everybody and your own homes actually is spirituality. There's nothing Swami actually would never really separate out. And then the other thing I would say, what Swami taught is that you depend on yourself. The word independence is depending on your inner self. So in independence is depending on yourself, depending on your inner self. That's what Swami teaches. We didn't have too many gurus there, so other than Swami, there was no other guru there. But, we had no fear with Bhagawan right next to us to be able to go and play with anybody. We had the opportunity to play with the biggest celebrities who came to Puttaparthi. We were never shy about it, never scared about it. We said, okay, we go and we learn and we play. See, that confidence, the self-confidence, is the most primary factor in every one of our lives. No matter what decision we make, whether we start, like for example, we started a center, it is a confidence in ourselves that this is the right thing that I'm doing is most important. And when we have that confidence, why worry about what others think? You keep walking. In fact, Swami wants us to walk like lions. That's what Swami says. He uses the word lions. We walk like lions. And without us having confidence, for us to say that we have faith in God is actually a very empty statement. When you do not have confidence in yourself, for you to say you have confidence in somebody else is, at least the way I understand, is very empty statement. And I'll narrate one beautiful incident that I happened to, witness in Puttaparthi, which teaches how important it is to, have the confidence that your convictions are right, and then dive into it fully. We say, oh, Swami, we need your grace. And every time we start, Swami, we need your grace, we need your blessings. And Bhagavan says, my grace and blessings are like sunshine. It is there on everybody. You open the window, you will get it inside your home. You shut the window, you don't get it. It is now your turn. And Swami gives other examples like, your glass is full, now you empty it, then I can fill it. I mean, no matter what he's saying is that my grace is there. Now it is for you to, derive the benefit of it. So one day, Swami, I think most of us know how Swami used to, give interviews every darshan, morning and evening, to take care of devotees' material problems and address spiritual questions and then help them grow spiritually. And I know you can say, well, so far you said they're not separate, now what are you talking about? In the end, it's all same, but at the same time, Swami gives you a little bit of breather room to realize that it's all the same. So when we go through enormous problems, Swami gives you a little relief, because some people say, in fact, I used to say this, I said, Swami, it's all, I argue with my father, it's all karma. God is Sakshi Bhuta, he's a witness. Then Swami actually said, if everything is karma, then what is the use of avatar coming into this, onto the planet? He says, when the avatar comes in, he can take a mountain full of karma and make it like a cotton, pile, where it doesn't even feel the, you don't even feel the weight of the mountain on your back. So it gives an example to show that. So one time, as I said, every day he used to do this. And one time, there was a devotee who went in a wheelchair and they had to be pushed in. And then they opened both the doors and then they took this devotee inside the interview room, and we were all we were all sitting outside, and then after, I think half hour or so, the interview room door opens. Now this gentleman was walking, and he was pushing his own wheelchair. And so Bhagawan walks into Mandir, where all the Bhajan boys were sitting, and we were all sitting there. And then Swami stands there, and Swami is just looking at everybody. And then one of the boys says, "Swami, you are the most powerful of the lords. You fix the person's handicap." And Swami touches this person's back, and he says, "I touch you, nothing happened. I touched him, he was able to walk." Power is same in both cases. The faith is different. I think it was something that really, it was like a lightning bolt that hit me. In the end, when we say, "Swami, you are not helping me," we really have to come back and ask, "Swami, I give me the faith and work on your faith," because his power is there to save us from every disaster. We have heard Swami talk about cancers being cancelled, people who are, whether it's Kovan or Mr. Radhakrishnaya, that Swami actually brought them back from, death. So the amount of power he has is infinite. The grace he has is infinite. We need to put in our 2 steps, 1 step towards him, and then we start using his wonderful power in our own lives. So other thing I was going to say, so this is how Swami teaches you that now your music is one aspect, but you also must have a lot of faith. Now the music, when you have the faith, it becomes sadhana. Now all the offering, whether it is music or anything, it becomes the same thing in the end. But music is a lot easier, because in music you can forget yourself. We use the word, I think in most Indian languages, I think it's a Sanskrit word, tan mayatvam, which is your tan, which is your body. Mayatvam means you forget your body. So you forget your mind and you just drown in music. So this is the beauty of music. In fact, Swami says, Bhagawan is Sangeeta Priya, and he talks about, in fact, our own Swami is talked about Tyagaraja's, how he has achieved the darshan of Rama through music. And as students, we knew how much Swami encouraged us and blessed us for being part of the music group there. And as Swami teaches you these spiritual truths that you got to have good. So going back to what we talked about, you have to be very precise at what you're learning. Put in your effort, no shortcut there. Must have discipline. Now must have a objective. There should be a focus. Same like life. There must be a focus. Without the objective, no action can be actually even rated right or wrong. In fact, I think, forgive me if this is not correct understanding, but the way I understand is that if you don't have an objective in your life, how do you judge an act to be good or bad? How do you judge the act to be helping or hurting? Without an objective, it's all random. So having an objective is important. That's why when you go back to the Manasa Bhajre that Swami talks about, he gives us the humans, what is our objective? And how do we go about it? And who can help you? That is what in the first bhajan Swami gives. As a student, you got to learn tactically how to be attached to Bhagavan. In the physical form, it was a lot easier, obviously. But then he teaches you to go inwards. Even though you were in Puttaparthi, he still taught you to go inwards. Not that he wanted to leave Puttaparthi and go somewhere. But no matter where you are, in fact, to try going inwards in Puttaparthi is actually a lot more easily achieved because of the Shakti Kshetra. So this is how Swami got us to first understand the faith aspects of it, and then the immense love that he showed basically reflected of us to back to him. So that devotion that Swami, taught us, taught everybody, is a wonderful spiritual lessons that we got to learn firsthand. Then there are others that I should also talk about. One other thing that I've narrated this in the past, but I'll still narrate this, is mantra. So initially when in the early days of my student life at Puttaparthi, during bhajans I used to repeat mantra, instead of chanting, following the bhajans. So one day Swami came and told me, he said, "So what, you keep chanting mantras during bhajan?" And then he said, "You should sing bhajans. Bhajans time, you should sing bhajans and clap." That's what Swami's instruction to all of us. But then there is a second aspect to this mantra. Mantra is something that should be mananam. So you should actually listen. In fact, you should listen the mantra in the voice of your guru. So when you close your eyes, you should listen Swami's voice chanting Gayathri in your heart. It's a beautiful practice actually. You can hear the wonderful Swami's lovely voice. But most importantly, it actually ties all your senses, to be so focused, because now for you to be repeatedly chanting one mantra is it doesn't require, because it becomes a habit, then you start getting distracted. But once you focus everything and then start listening to Swami's voice in your heart, your whole senses will become focused on that. So there's so many wonderful lessons that Bhagawan taught. Oh, I think it's already 8:30. I wanted to play a few bhajans too. So what I'm going to do is I'll play some bhajans, but let me see. I've wrote some notes for myself. So I want to make sure that I covered. Okay, so I think we all, I was also there when Swami talked about Bhagavad Gita. The series of discourses Swami, gave. And at the time Swami said, sometimes we get into this argument. But first of all, Swami said, don't ever get into arguments. It doesn't serve any purpose. He says, all that it will do is to create fights. So don't get into arguments. That's what Swami said. Then the other thing, during the, on the Bhagavad Gita, Swami said is that when somebody asked Swami, are these rules for the organization, are they only for people in India, because Swami's organization is in India? And Swami said, when Krishna gave Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, he didn't limit that to Arjuna. It was meant for the entire world. And when Swami gave instructions to the, for the organization, every rule, every guideline is given to us. It feels restriction, but that's how you build muscles. When you have restraint, that's how, when you work out, that's how you build muscles. Those restrictions are for us to become stronger. In fact, Swami talks about this in a beautiful way. He says, for an organization, in fact, Swami asked, what is the purpose? And Swami talked about this. What is the purpose of such an organization? It is to give you liberation. So now we come back and say, so why are we talking about rules for an organization that promises liberation from every rule? What does having rules mean? And that's what Swami says, the stage where we are initially, when a plant sapling is small, you actually put a fence around it. When it is grown, you don't need anything. So when a devotee is in a spiritual sadhana on the path, you protect it. You protect it from every little potential danger, whether it is arguments, information, gossip. That's the worst thing that can happen. It's not unusual. It is human nature. Swami talked about it for decades. These are the things we must avoid. So for a disciplined devotee, what he has come to give, like Brother Jiva talked about, in fact, the interview room used to be called Korikala Gadi, which is wish fulfilling room. And where we all went and asked Swami, Swami, I want, my father, when he was in deep trouble, he went and asked Swami, I want a transfer from this town to this town. So we went and Swami said, okay, it'll happen, and it happened, it's amazing how it all falls in place. So we go there to ask our wishes. But as Brother Jiva said, he quoted Swami. What Swami said is that I give you what you want, so one day you ask for what I came to give you. So that, to that extent, Swami gave us enormous resources, whether it is satsangs with wonderful devotees who have walked this path ahead of us. There is nobody who is bad in this world. So I think in Hislop's book, Swami talks about this. He is, such a great devotee. Hislop asked Swami, Swami, why is there so much bad in the world? And Swami says, no, there is no bad. And Hislop says, it's all in you, Swami. That's what Swami says. Then Hislop says, Swami, but I looked into my heart. I don't have this much, bad in me. Then Swami says, you don't understand, Hislop, at this level. You have to grow spiritually to understand those statements. Then Swami talks about, if somebody tells you there is a shadow, your shadow in the well, and if you say, if you go and see, then you will see the shadow. If you don't see in the well, there is no shadow. It is a wonderful creation. We don't understand. We don't understand a bit, a small iota. Not only us, scientists don't understand. Even watching news on Google will teach you that the most latest discoveries tell you that they question Big Bang right now. So you come back and say, man, so did the universe exist all the time? And they say, well, that's a possibility. So we don't understand anything, whether it is science or I shouldn't say we don't understand. We don't understand the full picture. We do understand small pieces. We don't understand the full picture. We're all trying to reach. Will science reach? Absolutely. Because science is the other bank of a river of the wisdom. Spirituality is one bank, science is the other bank. Science starts with observations and observations, then a understanding of how things work. And spirituality starts with faith. With faith, you get the experience. In science, it's the exact opposite. So anyway, those are all wonderful, mental curiosities you can feel as you start thinking about that. But Bhagavan talked about bhakti, jnana, karma, which is the devotion, and then the wisdom, and then the action. These are the three aspects of our existence, and these are the three things that Bhagavad Gita talks about. And Swami created a tactical, a map for us to walk for us to grow. As we grow, I think we understand. I'm telling you, this is a wonderful experience that I've had where Swami was one-on-one, not only in Puttaparthi, even afterwards, when I was seriously involved. I say this only for sake of, pointing out that how Bhagavan talks to each of us on one-on-one. See, it is important for us to be part of the organization, because that's a responsibility we take as devotees to continue to perpetuate and then pass on the wonderful organization that Swami gave in its most pristine form, without any changes that Bhagavan didn't talk about, because everything that he put in was very important. So to preserve the pristineness is a responsibility. To be part of the organization is extremely important, and it's a responsibility. That, and then me having a direct connection to Swami, they're not mutually exclusive. They're in fact actually part of your responsibility. You must have both of them. You must have a direct connection to Swami, a one-on-one connection to Swami, in a environment, in a group environment. See, when Swami talks to each of us, when we go to Bhajans, or when we go and do part of Sai organization, we're all there as a group to have the benefit of like-minded people. That's what Swami says. But your connection is one-on-one. And when Swami talked to all of us, if you think about it, when Swami talked to all of us in discourses, it was one-on-one too. In fact, many Swami's discourses will keep changing topics, because he's actually addressing questions that are there for most devotees' minds. My father talked to me about so many experiences where it was actually, he said it was so shocking, because I had a question and then Swami suddenly, changes the topic and then answers that question in a discourse on a Shivratri day. So, and this is, I'm sure many people can talk about such experiences. So in his case, he was one-on-one when he talked to us. In our case, we are still one-on-one when we are in a group environment. That still makes us take the responsibility of a member in a Satsai organization. It's extremely important. It is actually sadhana, more importantly. So that is what I wanted to certainly cover. There's so much more I want to cover actually on Puttaparthi, but maybe we'll do it some other time, because the grandeur of Puttaparthi itself is something that Swami talked about in beautiful poems, and also actually in discourses too. And my father, Professor Veerabhadraiah Garu, he taught in Swami's college, and then he was editor for Telugu Sanatana Sarathi for a few years, and he compiled some of the Swami's Swami's descriptions of the importance of Puttaparthi. He wrote a small little booklet on talking about that. I wanted to speak about that, but we will certainly do that some other time. I would like to probably play a few bhajans 8:40, so maybe like 1 or 2 bhajans, then we will break for questions. So the first bhajan I'll play is called Mana Bangaru Parthi Baba. It's basically, the meaning, I think many of you know this bhajan, but he's talking about how it is our dear Bhagawan, of Parthi, and we describe the beauty of his presence. I think it's 8:47, so I probably should end right now with my Veena. So with that, I was going to say, this is a wonderful opportunity. I think I just thank Bhagawan and all of you for giving this wonderful opportunity. First of all, to think about Swami, and second, to be part of this wonderful occasion that you're all gathered together to celebrate. So, with that, thanks to each of you, Sai Ram.
Thank you so much, Dhurjati. It was fantastic. So much message, so many rather, pardon me. And every instance, obviously, it applies to us as well, to your point. And so much, thank you so much. It was wonderful. Your Veena, obviously, definitely is out of the world, takes us to a different level, no doubt. But thank you so much. And then I just want to take an opportunity to thank all the devotees here for attending this session today. And definitely congratulations, Rochester Center, for being a part of the Global Council family here, inaugurating it on an auspicious occasion on Guru Poornima Day. Congratulations again. And thank you to all the devotees who are here. And so now we are going to open up for questions. Like I said, we are going to channel through Dr. Krishna Rao here. And again, if there is any other question from any other devotee here, raise your hand, I guess, and then we'll see how, depending on the time that we have, we can move forward. But with that, I think I'm going to leave it to Dr. Krishna Rao to, I guess, bring out the questions for Dhurjati ji.
Thank you, Bhagya. I'm Krishna Rao from Rochester, New York. Sairam all. Brother Dhurjati, that was an inspiring and wonderful talk. Of course, your Veena playing was so melodious and you rendered it so well. Thank you very much. Now, we'll open now it for Q&A. You can unmute yourself and ask a question, or you can send the question by chat box. Sairam. While waiting for the audience, I have a couple of questions. Brother Dhurjati, you talked about faith, and I just wondered, how can we make our bhakti or devotion and even faith stronger to reach Swami? Do you have any tips on that?
So I think, all the answers are really what Bhagawan already gave us. But in one thing that if you want to verbalize those in our own experiences, one thing we realize is that it is the faith and experience, they're kind of cyclical in that when you have faith, you experience Swami's grace. And when you recognize that Swami's grace is on you now, your faith actually becomes stronger. So what Swami said is that, test me, don't accept me. He says, test me, then you accept. And once you accept, now you strengthen your faith. Now don't keep going back and forth on that. That's how you would actually build up. Because your mind is very happy to shake the foundations at every opportunity it gets. So we have to control that aspect of it. So when you test initially, test Swami, he actually takes those tests. Just the way he tests us, if we test him all the time, all of us keep testing Swami. And he goes through it and to prove himself for us so that, we may grow our own faith towards him. And I think that is certainly, one way that you can strengthen your faith. But the first step is on us. We have to accept Swami. And for that, you need to test Swami. Test Swami. He never actually backs away from that. Test Swami first, accept Swami next, then continue down the path. You grow your faith and love for Swami. And that's at least what comes to my mind, Dr. Krishna Rao.
Thank you very much. That's very insightful. One question I have regarding devotional bhajan singing. Definitely the universal language, devotional singing are the heart that we all tend to enjoy. Can you share any few simple tips to make bhajan singing experience a memorable one, and also ways to connect deeply with Swami?
I think this is a very important question, and in fact is part of what we have tried to communicate through all Sai family members, and many of us actually know this, but I think I can tell you what I've heard firsthand from Swami on bhajan singing. So one time, during bhajans, actually we were in Poornima auditorium. Swami asked us to come to, I think, to help with sorting some clothes that he was going to distribute. So while we were doing that, Swami bhajans were going on. Swami says, what is this Sai Baba Bukar, because this is actually Tere Siva Prabhu Koi Nahi Hai, that song. That in the last line he says, it says, it's actually a pukar, but I mean it was heard as bukar. But the fact is that Swami said, why they are actually so sad and pleading for help. It's a joyous movement. You should be celebrating, you should be enjoying it. And he said, bhajan should be like mirchi bhaji. That's what Swami said, mirapkai bhaji. That's what he said. So the bhajan should really, draw everybody in. And Swami says, do namaspuran. Now, just name. I mean, just namas, or say namavali bhajans. Just few names with not too much, poetry built into that. This is the ideal for bhajans. Language, obviously, if you are able to sing in, your local language, that's what Swami wants us to do. In fact, he narrated about that too. He said you should sing in the languages that, you are accustomed to. You don't need to sing in Sanskrit bhajans because you need to have the connection. The second thing I think Swami talks about is that when you're singing bhajans, as is mentioned about the Omkaram, you must really, install Bhagawan in your heart and then go on the path of visualizing him in your mind's eye. You see, when we do pujas, even like when you go to temples, they actually invite the Lord to come and, be present in that idol during the puja time. That's how they invite, then they start doing the, different rituals to the idol once the Lord comes in. Similarly, when we start doing bhajans, deliberately and explicitly, we actually ask and invite Swami to be seated in our hearts. Then it's up to us to worship the way we please. Keep chanting the name and keep clapping and then close your eyes and then, to enjoy. To that extent, the lead singers have a responsibility. That is, if you must keep, tune, you must keep beat. If you're not able to, no big deal. You be a follower. Don't lead bhajans. So that's very important. Swami doesn't give you a pass for that. You can say, well, I'm singing to Swami. He doesn't really care about all this. No, he does actually. Swami actually cares about that because he insisted that you must sing in Shruti. And in fact, even Puttaparthi, if you see, he actually made 2 or 3 people together sing. Part of the reason is that, first of all, it sounds powerful. The second is that you also don't get into this, how did I sing? See, this, when somebody comes after the bhajan and say, how did I sing? The whole effect of the bhajan is gone. It becomes a performance as opposed to a spiritual sadhana. See, if we are not careful, a service will become they become chains. Maybe gold, but they become chains. They'll bind you. Because in your karma, you'll say, well, this guy did good, so it's going to come back to you. It must really become the karma which goes with zero feedback, zero result. That nishkama karma is what Swami wants us to do when you do seva. In bhajan, when we sing, he wants us to be a vehicle through which music and his love is actually flowing through to everybody, including you. You are also an observer for that wonderful spiritual experience that is happening. Well, this is ideal. How do you get there? By practice. How do you make sure as an organizer to do this? By putting rules and then making sure that everybody understands the concept of it and then joins hands to support those objectives. So that's how I think bhajans can be made more beneficial for everybody. He listens to everybody, no matter what. Just because you have a mic, it's not like Swami can hear you and we don't have a mic, he cannot hear you. It's not that the case, isn't it? So you can sing among 1 million people and he'll still listen to you because he's in your heart. He only listens to you from your heart, not from outside. So that, I think, is the concept of bhajans, and I think some of the ways Bhagawan actually talked about and then taught about how to, there are a lot more, Swami gave guidance, but I think just in a brief summary, that's what I would, I would describe that as.
Thank you very much. It's extremely useful tips for all of us, especially for me. Thank you very much. I would like to see if anyone else had any questions from audience. If not, I will have you maybe play one more bhajan for us. Maybe something like, in fact, when we started bhajan today, it came up Guru Varanam.
Oh, Guru Varna.
Guru Poornima day, maybe
Yeah,
you prefer.
I can certainly try that. Sorry. I'll play that bhajan, then I'll end with one of this. I think I played this last time too, but I'll play with the arati that used to be sung prior to what the current arati. It's the old mandir arati. I'll play that and then we'll end with that. So it should take 5 more minutes. Sai Ram.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Because time constraint, we can keep on listening to you, but I'll let Sister Bhagi and Brother Jiva take over from here for concluding remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It was so wonderful, beautiful to hear that music. Thank you. It's a blessing. It's a blessing that we could have you here. It's a blessing we heard you play also. So wonderful. Thank you so much. I guess last minute, if Jiva ji and Giridhar ji want to, our leaders here, if you want to do some comments here at the end, and then we can end this session.
What can we tell? It is difficult to speak after a program like this. And it was a wonderful program, and it's a wonderful offering to Swami. And and we will have Brother Dhurjati again soon. We have quite a few special functions are coming up. So thank you, Brother Dhurjati.
Sai Ram, congratulations again to all Rochester Sai family. Great occasion, amazing sharing by Brother Dhurjati. I couldn't help making some notes. There's so many takeaways. Brother mentioned about music with faith becomes sadhana, and sadhana leads to salvation or liberation. So in the same token, I want to say service plus faith takes you to sadhana, which again leads to liberation. I look forward to working very closely with Rochester Sai family in helping that on that path. Congrats again. May Swami's blessings be on each and every one, guide us and bring us together. Sai Ram.
Thank you.